Alright, there it is. That sweet girl. Looks out of balance. Looks like a wobbly egg. But it's not. Because the way things balance through space and time, a perfect sphere in space is a perfect sphere. Who says that's possible? A perfect sphere, a perfect circle in space and time. That might look a little different. I'm not saying this is it, but like I said before, one of the most rational and simplest objects. Now, when I say it's simple, I don't mean it was simple to make. It took me a week, in my free time after work, built out of liquor stir straws and pipe cleaners and some twine. Major technologies, by the way. How'd the Greeks do it? With hollow grass. It's kind of like in Asia how they respect art. Well, we'll give one of these, by the way. Hold on, gotta give my tag. How's that go? Like this, like this, like this, like this. They call that 666. It's an F. That's number 5. 56. 65. Alright. So yeah, this took me a long time. And now that I've made it, I realize I want to make it a different way. But I had to make it the wrong way before I could learn how to make it a better way. That's what Michelangelo's, this is a masterpiece, man. Michelangelo was so much more of a master than that. He coulda, and he's gonna, blow us all away. Even me, knowing it. But yeah, I worked on this for a week. And I watched Chappie. I commented on the Chappie trailer on YouTube. I don't know if that'll show up on the timeline that may or may not already exist. I only use YouTube on my phone, so it's more primitive of a format than is on the internet. I know only because I used to use the internet. I don't now proper. I just use it on my phone, but I know there will be, if there's not already, a succinct timeline on YouTube. I know people are fleeing from YouTube right now, well, I shouldn't say fleeing, but there's a lot of debate about YouTube, but the heart of it will win. The heart of it will win. So yeah, I'd come home. It was like I watched Chappie like several times in a row during the weekend while I was building this one. Same object. And this one, same object. More or less a 3-dimensional version of Star of David. Same thing. It's the same thing. But got it here. I'm not perfect. But there's all kinds of ways to be wrong. And until you're perfect, you're wrong in at least one. But the truth is, really, most of us are wrong in every way but one. I think. Otherwise, it wouldn't be like this. Okay, that's not true. If game theory makes God right 50% of the time, that's if you're God, you're right half the time. The rest of us, 10%. But again, that's not the eternal God. I've been listening to Dick Gregory, so I got a little bit of that Dick Gregory drawl in my voice, but you know, and you might be like, oh, I mean, never mind Uncle Tom, that's Wicker posing. But we only know what we hear. We can't speak. Or can we? But for the most part, we can't speak as we've not been spoken to. We speak as we are spoken to. I'm a New Age hermit. I'm completely secluded, except for the seemingly infinite amount of knowledge at my fingertips, like never before, ever, in this timeline, or the timeline. The only other timeline is atemporal timelines. But the timeline of timelines is the timeline, just like the God of gods is the God. So, you know. I ain't got it all right, for sure. But I'm seeking it. You're seeking it. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. Especially following this crap. But yeah, this one's for Dick Gregory. So I made this object watching the movie Chappie about the robot. Reminded me of Megadeth, Dave Mustaine, So Far So Good So What. Reminded me of the movie WALL-E from Pixar, Disney. And Short Circuit, Johnny Five is Alive. And those cocoons of light. Those higher beings, those angels, those alien angels, which, you know, as artistic forms, they're kind of a singularly unique artistic object, in so much as they possess the qualities of angels and aliens, yet are susceptible to our power as quote-unquote lesser beings, or alternative or lateral beings. If we don't help them, they can't help us. And if they don't help us, we can't help them. You know, those old movies, well, older, they were new to me when they came out. And when I saw them, that was back when special effects were all optical, by the way. Optical. And analog. Optical and analog. People talk about digital. This is all wrapped up in root 3 and the complex root of 3. How that ties into the Wizard of Oz. And also my Marjorie project, which I only discovered after I'd built it. That was a singularly unique artistic expression, the Cocoon movies. And how do they fit into this age? I've talked about it before and I got a lot more to say, is St. Thomas, patron saint of second chances and lost causes. it is so important to protect innocence and the innocence of the young. As an older person, I recognize that is the paramount obligation of anyone who cares about anything. That's going to come back to Hillary Clinton, who everybody shits on. Everybody. Here's a philosophical exercise. And it's tough for me. Don't think I have it resolved just because I'm raising the question, because I don't. I don't. Yeah, Lyndon LaRouche said, "We love insolent truths because they're truths." I'm trying to get there. I don't yet love insolent truths. Insolent truths kick my ass, you know. But anyway, here's a philosophical situation. Everybody, just about, not really, but everybody hates George Bush. An idiot. First of all, watch him talk when he was governor versus when he was president. See how dumb you think he is then. But thank you, Dick Gregory. But a while back, and I don't know now. See, that's the thing I don't know a lot about. I don't know a lot about the different facts, just things stick. I read things, certain things stick. It's like Plinko on Price is Right, you know. Might go this way or that, but there's a, Plinko, Price is Right. If you don't know it, just look it up. Plinko. Doink, 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 bing. It's just like lightning. Not quite just like. Because in Plinko, it's going to go this way or that, but it's going to end up in the same place. With lightning, it's going to go this way and that. It's going to step leader, and then it's going to go where that step leader say. But with George Bush, Iraq, all that, all the lies, what were they really doing? Of course they were lying. The President of the United States isn't just the president of all us dumb fucks. They're the president of the world. We criticize that. They're the president of the CIA. They're the president of the KGB. They're the president of the Vatican, whether they're over or above. And this, once again, thank you, Dick Gregory. I don't care if you're from Scandinavia. You watch 20 hours of Dick Gregory, you're going to be talking like you're from Alabama. We can only speak the way we've been spoken to. Thank you, Dick Gregory. The most subjugated people in the world, women. In America, black women. And he said, and he's right. Black women in the black church, and the black women of the church. The black women of the black church. That's what's going to save everything. Now, to my mind, I have a different line of thought as far as who ought lead America, who does spread its umbrella over the world. It can't be, for now, it can't be a white or black man or woman. It need be, I'll say this much, it need be a yellow and red woman and man. That's it for now. Because a white or a black can't heal the divide. And it is a divide. And it must reach across the Pacific from the America of Americas. Vespucci is Viscus Pisces. If it were up to the left, supposedly the champion of women, and this hurts me to say because I'm a coward. I am a coward. I couldn't do what's been done. But what I can do is what's to be done because of the gift of what's been done. George Bush this, George Bush that. Iraq this, didn't have weapons, da 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 da. No George Bush? This is hard. This is hard, man. This is hard. I don't like saying it, but it's true. So I gotta deal with it. And so do you. No George Bush. No woman mayor of Baghdad. For the first time in 1,000 years? Never mind. Thank you, Dick Gregory. Victoria's Secret. You can find that on your own. Never mind. Pope Agnes. Saint Agnes. Where was I getting to? I was getting somewhere other than here. I'm sorry for being so finger pointy. It's good to be influenced by people, but I forgot myself there for a minute. I'm not Dick Gregory. If you told me Dick Gregory was older than dirt, I'd be like, you sure he ain't older than dust? If you told me he was still around, I wouldn't have a proper response. That dude's been around. He'll be around. He left a trail. He gave us questions. He said, he used to say, be like, a couple times I saw him say, like, you interviewing me or I interviewing you? I'm telling you. You know, or he'd say, something along the lines like, he'd ask a question and someone in the audience would shout out and he'd be like, "This ain't no discussion. I'm just saying, you got to think about it," however he said it. I'm not like that. Sometimes I sound like that, but I don't know like he knows, but I'm inspired by him. I feel it. Whatever he's saying, whatever he's sending out, whatever he's transmitting, whoever the fuck he is, I'm hearing it. He's a prophet. And he's more than that. But that he is, for sure. Bank on it. You already know. I'm not. I'm a false prophet. I'll get to that. We think bad on false prophets. You false prophet. Don't think bad on you. You're pissed? You ought to be. Dick Gregory was right when he said universal God. I don't like universal God. I'm still trying to come up with a different one. Different word. That's a good one. Universal God. The thing is, some people say universal God made everything in perfection. But that includes free will, and that's up to us. And the perfection of the universal God is the Alpha and the Omega. People who say shit is right, or about the circle of life, or about boys will be boys, or about, oh, they're wild animals, that ain't the God of gods. That ain't the Omega. That's the Alpha. I am the Alpha and the Omega. The people who say shit is the way it is the Alpha and the Alpha. We're not the Alpha and the Alpha. You're the Alpha and the Alpha, you go like this and you go back. The Alpha and the Omega goes Alpha to Omega, except Omega is over here with the Alpha. You go Alpha to Alpha, you're going back. It's just like that object. It looks like it's going back and forth, but it's not. It's going around. So if you got the wrong geometry, you can be going alpha to alpha when you're supposed to be going alpha to omega. Never mind both ways. All the ways. And that's like Euclid in the fifth postulate. And all that Poincare shit. And it's like that thing I pointed out the other day in that other video I made. I'd have to find it about the Hindu. And the fourth statement about being a good parent to God. God gave us free will because God is humble. God don't even value God's self over God's creation. God values God's creation as much as God values God. God can't know God without God's creation. Sorry I'm being like this. Sorry I'm pointing fingers. I'm not God. But I'm one of His. I'm one of hers. She Almighty. I'd never seen that written before. I can't remember the name of the guy, but I will get back to it. Being a good parent to God. Omega's up to us. The God of gods, the eternal God's the Alpha. We're the Omega. We. Trust me, I'm trying to, I wouldn't say convince myself. I'm trying to remind myself. Because at my best of times, I see it. I have seen it. In a variety of ways, you know. with their help, with your help. Even if you're not born yet. I wrote it. We reach across time to each other. We're all the same thing. We're all there in eternity. But we got different ratios. We move different, we have different choices. Man, I can't even tie my shoes. I trip over shit. I'm the most biggest klutz. What the masters want us to do, I gotta check my time. What the masters want us to do, and there are masters, but they ain't transcended. They ain't gone. There ain't no heaven to go to, except in the eternal. And in time, we're stuck. So is God. That's how powerful we are. And that's how powerful God is. And that's perfect reason. And I'm not trying to be a dick. I mean, I know, hey, there are those who are among us who everything I've ever said they could think in an instant. It's true. But if you can't speak to at least this object, please don't say you can speak to ration. Please. Because it's one of the first things that comes up. It's one of the first things that comes up. And when I said before it's one of the most simple geometric objects, that's true. But the other truth about it is, I've struggled with that object for years. Building it was a major emotional and psychological, physical struggle. 90 degrees, standing on soffits all day, trying to get paint off so I could match something back to stain for something that don't even fucking matter, except that it was a gift to make me stronger because I'm so fucking weak, because I don't get out and exercise, because I sit in my chair smoking butts thinking about God, 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 God. Never mind. Then forgetting about the God in me and this thing he gave me, and while I'm worrying about if my glutes are right or if my butt's too saggy or if I got a freckle on my schmeckle, I got this. I got this. I got these for now. Still, after all the shit I've done on myself and keep doing. That's how much we're loved. God's right 50% of the time. Game theory. Beautiful mind, Nobel Prize. We're right 10% of the time. According to game theory, one of the most effective war strategies, Sun Tzu, who never fought a war till it was won. War is a peace. Peace. God's right 50% of the time. We're right 10% of the time. That's 60% of the time. That's still pretty good. 60-40. It's a pretty good split. So things are a hell of a lot better than they could be. Everybody loves dinosaurs. Dinosaurs was back when God was right 50% of the time and the world was right 0. And not the good 0, the bad one. Because it was wrong 100 of the 50. What we have the opportunity to do, if we're right 12% of the time, if we're right 13% of the time, if we're right 15% of the time, if we're right 85% of the time, we just upped our free will ante 50%, which is better than a return on your investment by E. If you're right 20% of the time, if we're right 20% of the time, we with God is 70% correct. And so far as free will goes, and so far as the world goes, we just doubled. So you could be wrong 80% of the time. 80% of the time you could be wrong. Which means you're wrong 4/5 of the time. You're only right 1 in 5 times. Not super great odds. Not super great odds. But if you got those odds, you just doubled how good the world and humanity is. The reason the world's fucked up is because we have free will and we have chosen wrong. But every little